Coach here. Finding a good tenant can make or break your rental business. Let me walk you through the exact steps from the moment someone applies till you hand them the keys. Okay, here we go. First thing, rental application. Make sure that you do a rental application. That's the first step. Make sure it's a complete application. Make sure that they have references on it, rent references, some sort of references that you can kind of check out. The next thing I do is kind of off the beaten path, but it's a social media check. So what I do is I try to look the tenant up, the potential tenant, and just see, get a feel what types of posts they're making. Is a lot of their stuff that they're posting out there, negative stuff, nasty, mean, vindictive type stuff. That's a real deal. You got to be careful with your social footprint and what you put out there. So I'm going to go check it out and I'm going to get a feel for you. I also look at it as an opportunity to maybe know some people that are mutual friends with you on one of the social media platforms. And if that's the case, I'm probably going to reach out to some of them as well to get a little better idea about, who I'm renting to. So that's a little pro tip there. Number 3, rent references. Check them out. If they've got some references, check them out. Call those references. Make sure you do that. I've also said in previous videos, here in West Virginia, we have a public terminal that you can go into magistrate court and you can put in the tenant's name and you can pull up if there's ever been any kind of evictions or anything like that, judgments against them or anything in West Virginia. I don't know if that's the case in all states, but it is here in West Virginia. Number 4, make sure you do a background and credit check. There's a bunch of different software applications out there that you can use, from Turbo Tenant, which is free for the landlord. There's Zillow does it. It's free for landlords. Rent Prep, free for landlords. TransUnion has what they call Smart Move. So there's a bunch of different places out there that you can get this done, and it's usually free for the landlord, and the tenant has to pay for the background check. The next thing is tenant reaction. It's very important. When you start talking about background checks, credit checks, tenants either have no reaction, say, yeah, that's great, or they say, I don't know, maybe, do I have to do that? And so if they start maybe some of that, that's kind of a clue to you that, this might not be the right tenant for you, or they're going to come clean and say, well, I had a bankruptcy, or maybe I had something in my background, from years ago. So, it kind of, has several different reactions. So, just kind of be on the lookout when you talk to them about the background check and the credit check. So, also, when you do the background check and stuff, make sure step number 6 is you probably need a company policy. Like, what credit score will you accept? If they do have something on their background, what is what will disqualify them for your rental units? And now I always suggest that you get an attorney to review state law and, kind of set your own policy within the state guidelines and federal guidelines, for your company. That way you can tell potential tenants exactly what it's going to take and what the minimum credit score is. You may say, well, I'll take let's say a 550, 560, 570 credit score, but I want first and last month's rent up front. So, there's several different ways you can structure that. Reach out to me and I can tell you exactly the way that we do it. Okay, the next step is we're going to rent to the tenant. So you made the decision, everything comes back good, the background check, the credit check, social media check, everything that you've done, rent reference check, social media, all that, works out. Okay, we're going to rent to the tenant. Then the immediate next step is let's meet with the tenant, either on Zoom or some kind of video conference, or I try to meet with them in person. And what I want to do when I meet with them in person is I want to explain every section of my lease. Now, a little pro tip, when you explain your lease to a tenant, what I always do is each subsection that I explain, I initial it. And I initial it. I go through the whole lease. I initial each and everything as a confirmation that I did explain this subsection to the tenant, because when you go into, let's say, magistrate court hearings, it's always, well, they didn't explain that, they didn't tell me that, they didn't tell me this. So I make sure that I put some sort of a documentation on there. And I know a lot of landlords will make them initial each subsection as well. So that's a little tip that may help you, somewhere down the line. Now, another thing, the next step when we get ready to sign the lease is I add what's called a smoke detector addendum. If we have gas in the units, I use a carbon monoxide addendum, and I use a crime-free, drug-free addendum. Okay, that's a few things that I like to add in, and I've talked to you before about the Landlord Protection Agency. The LPA, I think .com is the address. They have some pretty good forms that I've been using for a long time. They have these addendums. The smoke detector addendum basically says that they will keep up with the smoke detector. If it's chirping, they'll call you. You'll come by, you'll keep it up. The carbon monoxide, same way. They won't unplug them because sometimes a carbon monoxide detector may be plugged in, or I don't know how many times I've went into one of my rental units and I found the smoke detector taken down and the battery taken out of it, and it'd be laying on top of the refrigerator or inside a cabinet because they were cooking or something went on and the smoke detector went off and they just took it down and never put it back up. Another good thing to do is maybe a 6-month smoke detector and filter check on your unit. That gives you an opportunity about every 6 months to go in and take a look around. I always think it's a great idea, and I always recommend it. After you do that a couple of times, you can get a feel for the tenant and how clean they are and how they're keeping your unit. But that's another thing that you may try to do. The crime-free, drug-free is a similar type thing. If any kind of crime or illegal activity happens on your property, they understand that you will evict immediately if anything like that happens on your property. So the last thing, everything is signed up. We went through the whole thing. The last thing we want to do is set them up on automatic payments. I tell landlords all the time, do not collect rent. Don't chase tenants. Don't meet for cash. Don't meet to pick up a check. Make sure it's some sort of automatic payment. Now, there's a host of companies out there that do this. You can set it up with a credit card, ACH. You can use PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. There's a lot of landlord software out there. Aziba, Avail, Rent Ready, Turbo Tenant, Stessa. You got Zillow, Apartments.com. All that's kind of tied in there together. A lot of these you can do the background check, the credit check, and do your payment collection. So you can really kind of run that part of your business, from your smartphone. So there's a lot of great stuff out there for landlords. A lot of things are available. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you like this information, please subscribe to my channel. I'm Coach, and I thank you for watching.